G'day, my name's Chris. Welcome back to the shed. Happy New Year. New Year's Day by the time you're seeing this. Hope everybody's Christmas or festive season or whatever you want to call it went really well. I hope you spent some time hanging out in your shed. Maybe you had mates around and beers and whatever. Hope it was good. I've done not a lot, so it's catch-up video time for me. I worked on the front guard recently, and I made the mounting brackets, got the tabs riveted to the guard, made some stays, consumed a fair bit of time. They came out pretty well. Also got the footrest rubbers sorted out, so they came out really well. If you remember, I ordered BSA Bantam ones and they were too big. They were 3/4, and the rod I'm mounting them on is 1/2 inch or 12 mil. So all of that worked out really well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. Enjoy 2023. Forgive me if I get out of sequence here, but I work on little jobs as I can get to them. I've been working on the guards a little bit. Got them in primer, our etch primer, and I filled a couple of tiny little dints and they look good. I'm waiting on some rivets to arrive. I decided not to make them. So I've drilled the holes in the stays or the guard brackets and drilled through the guards, and I've got them loosely bolted in. Not going to leave them that way. I've decided to cut these off because every time I walk past the rear ones, I catch the sleeve of my shirt on them. They're a little bit dangerous. So I've marked them at 20 mil and I'm going to take them off. And hopefully the 20 mil will leave me room to round them over and drill a hole in them. I'm still waiting on 1/4 inch shaft to come to make the mudguard stays out of. Who knew 1/4 inch would be so hard to get? I'm going to get on and cut these. I'll bring you back later. Oh, that was simple. Just hack those off with the angle grinder. Not pretty, but it gives me some uniformity and I get a chance to look at it. I do like to look at the bike as it progresses and see what I think of things that I've done. Not much worse than having to mix up a tiny bit of bog filler, you know. I have a tiny, like a pin dent, like somebody's punched the guard with a centre punch there. And so mix up a tiny bit and let it go off and then sand. Now the shed stinks. Suppose I should show you what I'm calling bog. So it's called lightweight car filler. It's a 2-part thing. Comes in a little kit. The activator's in the top, and you know, golf ball to a pea. I always mix just a little bit heavy. I'm not sure why, but and then I don't have enough time to work with it, and I throw a lot away. But it works. It sounds easy, and that's what I'm using. So I need to make stays that will go from the axle up to the bracket on the guard, threaded at the top, hole at the bottom that pinches in behind the bolt on the axle. Relatively simple looking things, and I've made them before for my Elliot, but they were different. So come and I'll see what I've been up to. So I cheated and I got started without you. I bought some 32 wide by 3. And I cut 200 mil lengths and I bored a 16 mil hole in them. This one, I've just knocked the scale off so I can commence working on it. I'm going to machine the nut on the axle to give me another 3 mils worth of play in the shoulder that I machined already, and then slip these in behind and then start working on, well, how high do I want to heat it and roll it over a piece of round bar. I'll show you a bit more as I get going. So here's the nut I made to stop the axle dropping out of the front fork dropouts. It's got a shoulder machined on the back of it so that goes through the dropout and tightens up, stops the axle flopping around inside the wheel. So now I need to alter that and extend that by 3 mil, the width of this. If I can get that in there. So That is 3mm now. I need it to be 6mm so this can slip in between the dropout and the nut and all tighten up. That'll be the brace. I'm going to go and do that now to these two nuts. There's the pair of them now. I've machined the back of that shoulder, and you can see now that it goes through the 3mm and then we'll go through the dropout on the fork, and I've done both of those. So I'm going to pop them on the bike and see what they look like, and then start marking out for a height. Funny what you see when you offer the steel up to the bike and it's in the right place. As soon as I put it on and started to tighten up the nut, I can see that the tubes are pressed here where the forks have been put together. So in reality, the bracket has to sit below that line. And so somewhere there where the forks are pinned, I think, would be ideal. So when you put it up, I'm trying to do all this one-handed, I'd like to put it about here, I suppose, would be best. Just before, just at this point maybe. Hard to tell. So I worked out the roll of the 1/4 inch shaft. So I need to allow about 20mm or 3/4 of an inch to roll around the 3/4 shaft. That would be the circumference of a piece of 3/4 on the old school maths of 2 pi r. Twice times pi times the radius of the rod would mean it need the internal diameter. I'd need a piece about 20mm long to roll round the 6 1/4 mil bar. Getting my metrics and my imperials confused. I'm going to hack into this and cut it off and then look at forming the roll around just by hand over some cold bar stock. I think I'll bring you back when I've done that and I've got a piece that looks about what it is. I'm running out of hands. Well, after a fair bit of beating and pushing and shoving, there's my first attempt at a bracket. It's quite big. I don't hate it. I've got it rolled around the back and it sits just below where the forks are pinned and these down tubes are compressed around a dropout. It tightens up well and the shoulder of the nut sits through the bracket and the dropout and touches the spacer. I think I'm going to push on and try and make a second one for the other side. It's about where I think it should be, and then I'm going to put some round bar through and get some little bends going and see if I can get them to look about right. There's the first bracket I made. Come around to the other side. And here's the second bracket I've made. Now, they're not the same. I actually like the second one more than I like the first one. The second one just tilts away slightly more and isn't as rounded over at the top. But I intend to weld the round bar in, put a couple of zaps into it. The bar goes in easier and it'll be better. The first one is rounder and the bar slides through and there's a smaller opening to tack them. They're about in the same spot. The bike's slightly tilted, so it looks like the one on the right is higher, but it's not. They're very, very, very similar. I don't think I'm going to lose a lot of sleep. I'm going to have a go at putting round bar through and see what they look like. As I say, I like this one more, but it is a bit big and maybe it could be smaller. Not sure. Kind of at this point that I start to think, oh yeah, that's a victory. So I haven't drilled any holes in the brackets on the guard yet, and so I've just left the rods proud of where the holes would be. Gone through, bends up relatively easy, apply a bit of heat. Must be dark in here, cameras come on, the lights come on the camera. And here's the other side. Just got a tie on the bike to stop it sagging. And, you know, same sort of effect. The struts are in about the right place. I know they're pretty good. I'm happy with them at this stage. Again, they don't look perfect when you look at the bike head on. And the rivet counters and the purists, oh, they're not right, they don't look right, oh my God, they're slightly different heights. Yeah, well, I made them myself in my shed with a little blowtorch and a hammer. And they cost me about, I don't know, $6 or $7 for the pair. I can live with it. I'm going to thread them and I'm going to cut them to size. But I might wait until I've riveted that on and then those brackets are in exactly the right place before I mess too much. I get the back to do. Not really sure what I'm going to do about the back, but I'm thinking instead of taking it off the axle, I'll take a bracket off the outside of this rear frame stay. The bolts that are in it are certainly long enough, and it feels like a little tab going that way with the same roll effect, and then we go up, then we go up, almost straight up, and then we go back. So I had to resolve my problem with my footrest rubbers, the BSA Bantam ones. When I bought them on eBay, it said they were 12mm inside. I thought, you beauty, straight over the threaded rod, that'll be great. Turns out it's 19mm or 3/4. Now, I'm a lucky boy, I've got a little wood lathe, so I just grabbed some scrap wood of the budgeroo that I made the hand grips out of. And I've turned that down to 19mm, and now I'm going to whack a 12mm hole up the middle of it, and then I'm going to cut it off at 120, which will go up inside the footrest rubber, but leave room for the rubber to go over the nut. Hopefully all this works out. I'll show you when I get back to the bike. Nothing too sophisticated, I suppose. Hole's not quite in the middle. Don't think it matters. So it's about 3/4, and it's got a 12mm hole up the middle. Now, as I said, I'm a lucky boy and I've got a lathe, so that's cool. But I think you'll find a broomstick is 3/4. And then, if I push hard enough, on it goes. And it's airlocked itself. I'm going to have to put you down. Put this on. Come back to you. Well, nothing brute strength and stupidity wouldn't fix. That's the piece of 3/4 wood, or a dowel if you like, with the 12mm hole up the centre. Now, I left it short. I left it short the depth of the nut, because I hate the nut. It looks kind of ugly. But when you give it a shove, it goes up and it covers the nut. Now, when it's all tight, I suppose I'd put a little bit of tape around that threaded shaft and it'll hold on. But it's job done. Good result. I did cheat and make the other side first before I showed you this one. But it's a good result. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. There's actually a fair bit of work in it. The front guard stays went particularly well. I've actually done the rear as well, and they've come out really, really well. And I'll bring up to speed with them soon. In the next episode, I'm finally getting back to resolving the brake rods and all the connecting bits that operate from the blocks to the pedals and sorting all that out. So I hope you can look forward to that. In the meantime, 2023 is underway. Have a great day. Enjoy the year. Get out in your shed and have a good time.